Hey everyone, and welcome back with Bean O Mac. Today is the start of a new series on my channel called AKI Evolution. I will showcase the evolution of certain modes, features, characters, and more. Today will be the start of my game-to-game evolution that will mainly focus on the in-ring action aspects. Time to start at the beginning with the first AKI N64 game, WCW vs NWO World Tour, and how it evolved into the next entry, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64. The Man Breeze had developed Virtual Pro Wrestling and WCW vs the World on the original PlayStation console. Although they played differently, these games were the foundation to start the N64 series. After changing their names from the Man Breeze to AKI, along with THQ, the AKI Corporation would make their names instantly known in the wrestling game sphere with the release of WCW vs NWO World Tour on December 2nd of 1997. Then 17 days later, exclusive to Japan, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 was shoved onto the store shelves. Despite the short space between releases, there were a lot of improvements from World Tour to Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, so let's get started. So, to begin, we will once again have to go over the basics that World Tour started. I will only have to go over this stuff once so we can fully appreciate the evolution of this series. World Tour establishes the formula with all the fundamentals. Starting off with strikes, press B or B in a direction for an alternate strike. Being a small distance away does kicks. Holding down the B button will trigger your stronger strikes. Holding R will block punches and, if timed right, can reverse strikes. L will have you evade by doing a quick back step. Tap C down to run. Pressing B while running will activate your running strikes. Choosing a specific direction with the D-pad to run will activate your strong running strike. Now on to grapples. You can initiate grapples in two ways, weak or strong style. Tap A for weaker grapples that are harder to reverse, or hold down the A button for strong grapples that will do more damage but are easier to get out of. Once in a grapple state, you have 6 base options. Tap either A up, A down, B up, or B down. All of these results in different moves being performed. Another grapple state can be accessed from behind. An easier way to access this is by pressing C up to spin your dazed opponent around. You have less options though. You can still weak and strong grapple, but you only have 2 options for each grapple state, which are simple A and B button presses for a total of 4 back grapples. You can also press C down while in a grapple state to Irish whip your opponent into the ropes, turnbuckle, outside post, apron, or barricade. When you toss them into the ropes, you have 4 options for a rebound grapple or a single rebound strike option. Tapping A does a weak rebound grapple, while holding it does the strong variation as usual. You also have another option for both by pressing the D-pad along with A. In a strong grapple near the ropes, you can press C down to toss your opponents out of the ring. Irish whipping into the corner will set up your opponent for more moves. You can do strikes, running strikes, or grapples. Once in a grapple state, you have a few options depending on who you choose. Weak grapples are usually just one move. With strong grapples, some wrestlers have 3 options. A or B, it doesn't matter which one you pick. Press A button up or down to execute a move, which is usually a superplex or other type of super move. Your opponent is grounded, they are at your mercy. You can once again do strikes to literally kick the opponent while they are down, get a running start to get the drop onto your opponent, or you can grapple at their head or legs to do wear down attacks. These are usually submissions, and depending on whether your opponent is face down or on their backs will determine your maneuver. C down will pin an opponent. Press C up to flip your victim over. You can also hold L and move to drag them wherever you want. Press R to pick them up from the ground. While getting up from the ground after being attacked, you can hold the R button down to stay crouched for a few seconds. Pressing A or B will do a counter strike, or press L to roll backwards and gain some distance. If you head to ropes, you can hold C up and the direction toward the ropes to exit the ring, or simply tap those buttons to get onto the apron. You can also be knocked onto the apron as well as do the same to your nemesis. While on the apron, you can do small strikes to both the inside and outside of the ring. You can also grapple. You have a few choices. Pressing A or B will do conventional grapple moves. Pressing C down will have you drag your opponent to push his face into the turnbuckle pad. If your opposer is on the apron and you grapple, you will do a suplex to the inside. You can press the run button to try and bash the fella's face into the metal turn post. The final attack positions involve high flying attacks. You have a few different ways of doing so. The usual is to run at the turnbuckle to climb. Everyone has dive options for standing foes or grounded foes. There are also potentially different moves if your opponents are outside the ring, as well as the distance from your opponents. Another way to fly is from the ring apron. Only those gifted with the ability can do so, however. From the apron, you can jump inside the ring by holding the A button and a direction towards the inside of the ring while you are a distance away from the man you are trying to hurt. If they are behind you on the outside, simply hold A and the direction towards the outside of the ring. For even more options, while your enemy is outside, once again, you can move towards the ropes and once again hold the A button and D-pad toward the ropes to dive over it. Another choice will have you get a running start, and pressing the A button after bouncing off the ropes will have you vault over the ropes and at the adversary. Finally, you can run towards the ropes and do an inside dive as well. Once outside, you can go to the barricade and press C up to grab some weapons. Tap a B to turn that sumbitch sideways, or hold B for an overhead attack. If your opponent is inside and close to the ropes, tap A and the D-pad towards the ring to drag them outside or trip them from behind. Strong grappling and pressing C down near the ring will toss them back inside. Finally, pressing C down and a strong grapple near the guardrail will have you bash the opposition's face off of the barrier. You can flick the analog stick in any direction to taunt. Rising from the ground while holding the analog stick will have you do a ground taunt. Once your momentum meter is full, you will automatically enter the special state, which will also happen to those who have their masks ripped off. Once in a special state, there are a few options to finish off your competitor. You strong grapple, then flick the analog stick to unleash your ultimate move. The positions in World Tour that allow for this are front grapples and back grapples. Finally, you can't steal finishers, but you can steal a move by pressing A and B while in a special strong grapple state. Some final techniques worth noting is that you can leapfrog over running opponents by pressing L. You can do this endlessly if you want to. If two gladiators grapple at the same time, a test of strength minigame will activate where the one with the most button presses wins. Eric Bischoff and Joe Bruiser can only do high flying attacks in the special state, otherwise they will both just taunt. And finally, Joe Bruiser is unique in the way that he cannot be Irish whipped and has no grapple attacks. Phew. Okay. I think I went over every attack option, hopefully. I don't know, someone will tell me in the comments if I forgot something, but I'm pretty confident I got it all. As you can see though, everything that makes these Aki titles special was here from the beginning. Alrighty then, with the stage set, now it's time for the point of this series, the Evolution. This section will be the bulk of the videos for this mini-series, so on to Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, we get a lot of big and small improvements, as well as additions despite this title being developed at the same time as World Tour. I've heard that this game was the first to allow corner finishers by pressing A and B at the same time. Unfortunately, this seems to be false. I've tried for a few wrestlers I expected to have a corner special, like Scott Steiner, Scott Hall, Eddie Guerrero, DDP, and Jinsei Shinzaki, but none of them seemed to work. With disappointment out of the way though, there are some minor additions that add to the overall experience. First off, they updated the mask ripping animation so that way it actually looks like the mask is being ripped off instead of just vanishing. The L button has been updated to spin dazed folks and roll over downed opponents. Virtual Pro also added a cartoony looking referee, which I find to be pretty charming. Although sometimes he can be blatantly crooked with his counts. There are some major updates with a new character type, a mix of boxers and traditional wrestlers called fighters. Their style is highlighted in yellow and they have access to combos. Strong grapple and press B to initiate the combo. Then you have 5 strike options. Pressing B or B in any direction will all do different strikes. Some strikes end combos early though. Busting someone open during a combo will also end the combo early. The final hit knocks them down. Usually you get 6 strikes, but if you have a special, you get 10 strikes. If you are a victim of the combo, you can try to guess which strike they will unleash. Match up correctly, and you will somewhat block the attack. You can also try reversing the strikes too. Next is the high score system. After every match, you see the percentage of attacks you did. You can save the particular scorecards if you like so you can look back on it in the options menu. Also in the options are wrestler records. It keeps track of matches participated in, wins, losses, draws, and win percentages for all wrestlers in the game. Some other quick additions to this title include fixing the infinite leapfrogging and being able to change who you're looking at while planning a recovery attack. If you reverse punches and kicks while in a special state, you will do finishers. The final implementation is the ability to steal moves. I should have mentioned that World Tour did have this feature as well, but it seems to have been very poorly programmed. With a special, you can press A and B together. This will have you steal a move from your opponent. It's weird though. Sometimes, like with Ric Flair, you actually steal their finisher. But other wrestlers, you just steal random moves. Even though Kevin Nash and DDP's accurate finishers are stolen, it's not actually their in-game specials. Here are their actual in-game finishers. It's a cool touch that you steal their actual finishers. It seems like this is what World Tour tried to do, but maybe they messed up the coding because you just steal random moves for some reason in that game. Like I said though, that still seems to be the case for certain wrestlers like the Giant, who you steal his giant knee smash attack instead of his choke slam. But I will give Virtual Pro the official victory in this category since they actually have some moves that you steal that are real finishers. Since there was a lot of information this episode, we're going to end off with a quick recap of what was improved here. First off, Virtual Pro Wrestling introduced a new character type that can pull off straight combos by strong grappling and pressing B. With a special, you get extra strikes as well. Also, AKI added a referee during pins, submissions, countouts, and more, along with updating stunned wrestler controls. Then they updated the finisher stealing option by improving what moves are stolen, but some are still questionable. In addition to introducing a match scoring system, VPW64 also has a records mode for every character in the game. Overall, I feel we got some pretty big gameplay additions considering these games were made side by side with each other. Keep in mind, this video focuses on match gameplay only. I will make more videos about various modes and other aspects of these games in the future. Well, that's all for this episode. Next month will be the improvements in WCW NWO Revenge. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed and are looking forward to the series as much as I am. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and check out my comparisons, reviews, and other N64 wrestling game content every single week on AKI Sunday. Above all else though, please remember to have a nice day.